A person wearing a suit in a room of the people in t-shirts is usually the most important person there. A person wearing a t-shirt in a room full of suits is more likely the most important person in the room.
I got told the dress code was smart casual for a training day. When I turned up, I was the only person besides the trainer who I'd met before and greeted me warmly. Not in uniform. People treated me like I was a manager. It was pretty odd. The CEO of the company I worked for said that it's not uncommon for programmers to be asked to dress down for important meetings. Apparently, investors don't think programmers who dress well are good programmers. In college I did some camera work for a presentation Mandy Patinkin gave, and I got invited to an after party that he was going to be at. I was thinking, cool, I'll just show up in my black jeans and t-shirt. Literally everyone else was in a suit or fancy dress. I certainly did not come across as the most important person in the room. Okay, so I went to a political fundraiser at some guy's 26k square per foot custom mansion thing, and this one dude was so out of place in his shabby shirt and high socks and sneakers. I told my GF he is probably loaded. Later that night I found out he is worth in the neighborhood of $500 million. Perfect stereotype, lol.
Wikipedia built the biggest modern information hub using nothing but nerds need to correct each other.
'Tis a powerful force you speak of. Actually, they used computers. I'm loving the correct use of the apostrophe here. Thank you. Wikipedia and this thread demonstrate that the best way to get the right answer on the internet is not to ask a question. It is to assert a wrong answer to the question and wait for someone to correct you.
If you were invisible, you could have a perfectly normal relationship with a blind person.
Except in public, people would see him talking to nobody and think he's crazy. Yo, I read this book. This is the plot of Things Not Seen. Well, maybe for Mr. See-Through, but I'm sure Mr. No Sight will get some stares when he's talking to himself or making out with air. Thank you. At last I will have a relationship.
Single-player games that don't require internet are going to be extremely valuable during the apocalypse.
Asterisk connecting to Ubisoft Uplay servers. Asterisk. Why play games when suddenly you have IRL Rust server? Board games are going to be extremely valuable during the post-apocalypse. The internet's down. This is the apocalypse. Time to start hoarding and looting. Quote. But we still have power. What makes you think it's the apocalypse? Quote. The internet is down. How can we know it's not the apocalypse? Quote. Well, the TV news. Good God. We're reduced to watching live TV? The apocalypse is worse than I imagined. I guess we'd better start resorting to cannibalism.
An onion is the bass player of food. You would probably not enjoy it solo, but you'd miss it if it wasn't there.
Well, I often listen to bass solos alone in my room and cry. My old boss ate onions like an apple. And just like the onion, there are other vegetables that get a whole lot more love from women. Bassists also have a significant amount of layers.
Anybody that questions why you are shoveling 6 inches of snow in the middle of a snowstorm hasn't shoveled 12 inches of snow at the end of a snowstorm.
Not to mention the longer it sits, the quicker it all freezes together, and then it's really a pita to remove it. My wife always makes fun of me for this. She just doesn't understand. Maybe I should go make her shovel sometime. How bad is the snow right now? Up. My wife used to ask me this question until I started responding with, I'd rather take on 4 inches 3 times than I would 12 inches once. She doesn't ask me anymore. Edit. Grammar.
If people from the Star Wars universe ever came to Earth, the fact that it has deserts, rainforests, prairies, tundras and oceans would probably be a real mindfuck for them.
George Lucas. Okay, so the next set piece is Endor. Artists. Okay, what's that like? George Lucas. It's a forest, so next is Hoth. Which? Artists. Wait, hold up. What else is there besides a forest? The whole planet can't be. George Lucas. Next is Hoth, which is snowy. Anakin wouldn't fare too well in Nevada. Well, our planet could have been a water world if we'd ended up with, say, 10% more water than we got. A desert planet just needs less water. Deserts are dry, not necessarily hot. Hoth could be a crucial few million miles further from the sun, or in the grip of an ice age. Earth has been almost entirely covered in ice too. A mountainous planet needs something to supercharge plate tectonics. Say a rogue gas giant or a binary star. Atmospheres are produced and maintained in a non-inert state by the biosphere. Our atmosphere has oxygen because of plants. We're arguing about where the trace amounts of methane on Mars is coming from. Looking at it, it's pretty weird that we have all this variety. But then, we don't really. 70% of the surface is ocean. If we were in the SWU, the aliens would be talking to the dolphins and whales. I mean, I could buy Endor being one big forest mostly. Lots of interconnected oceans to spread heat around or something. But Hoth? Where the fuck did Hoth get breathable oxygen from? Ice world, sure, but you need some kind of ecology for free oxygen. What did the snow beasts eat? What did their prey eat? Were they just hanging out in the poles? Were they there during extreme winter and it's normally more of a tundra?
Replying K in Moss has the same passive-aggressive tone.
Titanic, SOS, Carpathia, K. I always respond, KK, like an annoying teenage girl in the early 2000s. Oh shit, that gives a whole new meaning to the old emote smiley I used back when. We use K in my family as okay, but I don't have much time to type right now, but hey. Okay, to whatever you just said. Oh, K then, is kind of sarcastic. Did y'all know that kids whine in sign language? And it's just as irritating as the verbal whining. My.
The weird, artsy, loner usually gets the girl in movies, instead of the jock, simply because many movies are written by weird, artsy, loners.
I feel like you just watched Revenge of the Nerds and are twitching. Jock get girl, ... My movie no sell. Weird, artsy, loners aren't unfuckable neckbeards. Even when portrayed in film they look pretty average, if not straight up attractive. Weird, artsy, loners aren't unfuckable neckbeards. Even when portrayed in film they look pretty average, if not straight up attractive.
Both concrete and glass are mostly made of sand, which makes skyscrapers just really tall sandcastles.
If Anakin knew that, he'd slightly dislike Coruscant, assuming the process is the same. The classic statement, people who live in elaborate sandcastles shouldn't throw solid aggregated minerals. There is a ton of steel in that concrete. Humans are made mostly of water, which makes us just needlessly complicated water balloons.
Monopoly would be more realistic if the person with the most money got to change the rules whenever they liked.
That is the way you play Monopoly when you play Monopoly with my wife. I have more money than you, so I disagree. Now that's Dallas. Monopoly would be a lot more realistic if everyone started out with wildly different amounts of money.
Students often wonder why they have to learn so much stuff like science, chemistry, biology that they'll never use, while simultaneously wondering why adults are stupid enough to not believe in modern medicine.
I had a professor in college that said, everything you learn takes you one step away from being a dumbass. All knowledge forms you, even the knowledge you deem unnecessary. Why do professional football players run hills during practice? The field is totally flat. Also, for years I complained that high school kids should be taught about household budgets and cell phone and car loan contracts. Until a workmate asked, when you were 15, would you have paid attention in that class? Quote, I no longer espouse education policy.
USPS could make more money if they put post offices in airports, so instead of throwing something out that you forgot was in your bag, you could mail it home.
Denver International Airport has this. It's great. I've used it more than once. Who mailed me a bottle of shampoo? Oh yeah, that's right. Forgot my customized pocket knife was in my bag. Had to mail it to myself. Payment resulted in the only overdraft on my account ever. Cost me $130 in fees. Lost the pocket knife a few years later. I'm a disappointment to myself. I didn't lose my pocket. Forgot my customized pocket knife was in my bag. Had to mail it to myself. Payment resulted in the only overdraft on my account ever. Cost me $130 in fees. Lost the pocket knife a few years later. I'm a disappointment to myself. I didn't lose my pocket.
When medication says, do not operate heavy machinery, they're probably mainly referring to cars. But my mind always goes to forklift.
And while in my daily life I rarely operate any heavy machinery, reading the warning makes me want to. I know it's wrong, but I still picture a washing machine. I never even considered it could be a car. Weird. I always think exactly the same thing.
Today is the Mondayest Thursday ever.
Wait till next week. If you live in the UK, it's the Sundayest Thursday ever. Got fired today, so you're telling me Sundayest here.